Hello, my friends. Hello, 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 and welcome to.
Welcome to the Remodelers Show, hosted by Kyle Hunt.
There we go. Proper introduction. I called this the Thanksgiving Show because it happens to be the day before Thanksgiving 2020. This is the first show that I've done this week. The last several weeks have just been kind of a once a week affair. And as I look at my schedule for the rest of December, I think we'll probably have kind of a once a week remodeler show for you. Today, I have a variety of topics. I have a deep desire for people to share comments or ask questions live. Depending on how we're doing, we might even go past the 30-minute mark. I've got a little bit of a gap after the bottom of the hour. So if we're having a lot of fun, we will do that. I'm already seeing a little bit of a like, some views, so welcome. What's your one word open? Anybody got a one word open? Go ahead and share that in the comments. Quick plug. Instead of me just even working this in as I go, I was lamenting a little bit this morning to myself of, Kyle, you were supposed to promote that more. You've got that course coming up that starts next Wednesday, a week from today. And people need to be taking it. It's called Building Your 2021 Breakout Budget. We are going to get into how to understand reading a profit and loss statement and studying that and understanding that at a deep level. We're going to have a session on markup and how to calculate it well. I'm also going to touch on some job costing conversation during that meeting. And then the other 3 sessions that are happening as part of that course is going to be focused on creating and crafting your 2021 business budget. What's your strategy for this upcoming year? What are some adjustments we need to make? So I think we got about 20 people signed up for it. Would love to get some more. If you go to remodelersmasterclass.com, or just reach out to me if you want some more details. Kyle, tell me more about that December course on business budget. Love to have some of you. Jim is spot on with the Thanksgiving show. His one word open is grateful. That is excellent. I write this little daily devotional on my personal Facebook page. I've been doing it for many months now, and I had a flash of something earlier, so I kind of wrote up tomorrow's a little bit, at least the rough draft of it. And it starts out by saying more, right? We got to level up. If you're not growing, you're dying. We hear a lot of talk like that within the business world, within our sphere of business improvements, maybe even personal improvements. And Thanksgiving is a time where perhaps we slow down a little bit from that and we have a little bit of gratefulness. Instead of always chasing, what's next? I need more. I'll be happier when my business gets to $2 million. I'll be happier when this happens. I'll be happier when that happens. What about looking at life from a little different angle and perhaps being grateful, taking the time to count your blessings now, to look around and kind of take stock of, to kind of compare yourself to places and people in other parts of the country or of the world and realize, when I actually slow down for a second, I've got it pretty good. And when we get in that proper mindset, it changes our tone. It changes our mental game. It changes how we speak to others. Might even just slow us down overall. So there's a little Thanksgiving reminder there for you. Okay. So bring me your questions. I got the chime ready, and we're going to cover some questions that you guys submitted and also some other things that are on my mind. I'm going to start with this one. I'm working with a newish client of mine, and we're focused on creating his marketing plan, his marketing strategy. Who is his ideal client? Tell me about those people. What's your ideal project? And then getting into the tactics. We get into strategy before tactics when you create a marketing plan. And then you start to get into the tactics, staying in touch with our previous clients and our referral program and our website and social media and strategic partners, etc. I need to turn the sound off so that I don't get notifications like that. Okay. So we were talking this morning, and he had done a little bit of homework related to describing his ideal project. And one of the words that he used to describe it is, our ideal projects are complex. Our ideal projects are complex, is what he wrote. And I said, that's interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. And he started talking more about what his projects are like. I said, what do you mean by complex? And he said, well, we do a lot of projects around lakes. And he listed the 4 top lakes around him. That's where a lot of their projects are going. I said, okay, tell me more. He said, well, a lot of our projects, we're adding second story over a first floor. And there's gables and dormers and load transfers and bearing points. We're getting it on that foundation. It's a tight lot, 40 foot wide. A lot of times there's a 20-foot fall from where the driveway is to the lake, with 5-foot setbacks, with overhead wires, with a well in the way. Our projects are very complex. And as he was describing that, and as I was writing that down, I started to get a much clearer, better understanding of the type of work he does, and frankly, the type of work he enjoys doing. When you start to think about what your ideal project is, to get into that much detail where I can really start to understand the type of work that you do. Even me describing what I've described so far, you're starting to get a picture of what this remodeler is like. And from there, we started to just dig into, tell me some stories. Tell me some stories. Well, just yesterday, he's like, my architect and I, we were up in an attic. What were you doing in the attic? Well, we were looking at how the framing was and how where the load-bearing walls were, and we were doing some pre-planning work. He started just to go into these different stories. He shared another story from a year ago where they came in on a project that the current builder had dug a hole, got into a bunch of muck on this lake site, didn't have a lot of experience with it, and the clients finally, over the series of months, lost faith in this builder that they didn't know what they were doing, and brought my client in to do the project. And he kind of told the story of the soil boring and the different things they did and their expertise in that. You need to talk more and more about stories like that, what you do that's unique in your marketing efforts. You also need to get very clear with who is your ideal client and what is your ideal project. So that's kind of what I wanted to share there. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to mention on that. It was this phrase. Good marketing attracts and repels. Good marketing, good content, good messages attracts and repels. As I was describing what that complex project looked like, if I'm somebody that's in the market for that and I'm reading about that and I'm on their website and I'm reading about how they work, that's going to attract me because those people are already worried about all of those factors. They know it's complex. They've heard some stories from friends of theirs on the lake, good stories, bad stories, right? So that's going to attract them. If I am somebody that's just looking to get a kitchen remodel and I'm kind of keeping the same footprint and I just want to take the old out and put some new in, that type of content, that type of message is not going to attract me. It's kind of going to repel me. These aren't my people. So good marketing attracts and repels. And a great way to create that marketing is just to share stories and get really clear with who your ideal client is and what your ideal project is. I hope helpful. I hope that makes you think a little bit more. As I was going through it with on the one-on-one call this morning related to it, there was light bulbs going off. Interesting. Man, we sound so vanilla in what we put out there. We kind of look, talk, and act the same as everybody else. We're not creating content that really is getting inside the head of our ideal client, of our ideal project. There's a conversation they're having. And especially if you've been working for a similar level of client or similar type of project, you already know those questions they're asking or things that they're not even thinking about that you can bring to their attention. Good marketing is just coming alongside that conversation that's in their head, sharing stories, documenting your process, and it's going to attract the ideal client. It's going to repel it. Okay, I hope that's helpful. The reason that I do the Remodeler show is simply to share a little variety pack of good ideas, free of charge. I'm not charging you guys anything for this. And hopefully you're going to take something and it's going to inspire you to do something. There's a little delay in video. Hopefully that's all right. It's going to inspire you to do something. It's going to give you kind of a new perspective on things. And hopefully even what we've shared so far is already doing that. We just had a big bump up in viewers. So hello, new people. Can you click the, I see Kayla click the like button. She made me into like this GIF thing where I think the other day I was going, come on, can you click the like button? And she made a funny image of that. That was pretty clever. Did he say free? Alex, I did. Hi, Alex. I don't think we've ever met before. I did say free because this show, there's no charge to this. The entertainment value is free. The content that I'm sharing is free. Now, if you want to join my December course that I'm doing and digging into next month on really getting zeroed in on your markup, understanding your P&L, and creating your business budget, I do charge for that. And you see down here at the bottom, I do have this Remodelers Autopilot program to help you generate more repeat and referral work that you can try literally for $1 if you go to remodelersautopilot.com. Those cost things. But this show, free of charge, my friend. Hi, Michaela. Got to mention to Michaela. Michaela and Grant just did a series of coaching with them around a marketing plan as well. And they threw out an idea the other day that said, we've been thinking about doing this Tipsy Tuesday thing where we just do a Facebook Live. We prepare a few topics related to it, and we see what questions people have. While at the same time, we're going to start the show by kind of mixing a few little drinks. We're going to do it 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and see what happens. And I said, guys, that's an awesome idea. That is a cool idea. And we talked about it a little bit, and I told them to use the StreamYard program that I use for this. And wouldn't you know it, I do believe the next day, this was part of their 2021 marketing plan, the next day they did it. And last night, Michaela, put in the comments maybe a little summary. How did it go? What did you enjoy about it? What were kind of give me a little summary of how it went. I checked in a little bit on it, and it was going awesome. And it was fun, and it was outside your comfort zone. And you guys learned a lot by doing that. And there's some good questions and good interaction going. The moral of that story is when you have an idea, when you think it's a good idea, do it. There is a graveyard of ideas that is way bigger than that other. What analogy can I use? The other opposite end of a graveyard. There's a pile. Here's what I'm getting at. There's a pile of dead ideas over here. Wonderful ideas, new little areas of your business, new things you wanted to implement. That pile is ginormous. Then there's this pile over here that people have actually implemented and done things with. Sometimes those ideas don't go anywhere. Sometimes that idea and implementing that led to the next thought and the next improvement and the next idea, right? But we love to get ideas. We love to brainstorm ideas. It is not as attractive to us to do and to implement because it's stinking hard work. Sometimes it's risky. Sometimes it comes at the investment of money or time. But if you want to keep improving, you got to keep trying. You got to keep doing new things. So Michaela, a tip of the cap, my friend, for being an implementer. Alex says, I may have met you many years ago, not sure though, at a Michael Stone seminar in Florida. Not sure if it was you though, LOL. Laugh out loud for those of you keeping track at home. Alex, I love Michael Stone. I have never met Michael Stone in person, talked to him many times. I actually talked to Devin once a quarter for a little meeting. So you did not meet me there. And maybe you're new to the group, welcome. So that was not me. That must have been some other attractive business coach for remodelers. Michaela says, it was so much fun. It was way more laid back than the typical videos that we do after a project, which made me more comfortable. It also is an amazing way to create know, like, and trust. We're definitely going to keep doing it. I did comment in there, which what was really fun about a live video is I commented, I said, is Grant getting tipsy? Because Michaela's pregnant, so she ain't drinking. But Grant was mixed a little, look, kind of mule type thing. And what's funny is I was Grant was answering a question, and Michaela was going to look at the comments, and I saw her laugh, and I'm like, oh, she just read my text or my message. So glad you had fun with that. Let me just share what you mean by know, like, and trust, since we're kind of on a little bit of a marketing vein here. Here's the definition of marketing. Marketing is getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. Oh, good pause at the end, Kyle. Thank you. Marketing is getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. So when we get reviews on Google, that is helping us build trust. When we do a show like Tipsy Tuesday with Compass Construction, with Michaela and Grant, Tipsy Tuesday, that's building know, like, and trust. They were having fun, know and like, and the trust factor is they were answering good questions. They were teaching. They were talking about remodeling. They were talking about HGTV shows. They were answering questions that people had about new trends and new how to install this and how they approach that, and just educating on the overall process. So keep trying things. Love it. Cool. All right. Let's go back here. Hit the old chime. Okay. Let me also share about that pause. We're just bouncing between topics here and hitting a little variety pack. Remember when I kind of shared the definition of marketing, and then I had a nice pause? And I do believe I actually complimented myself and responded to myself. So I was talking to myself. Sometimes you have to do that on a show like this to keep it exciting or to keep me entertained, because that's important too. A pause is a gift to the person you're talking to. I learned that from, what's it called? Heroic Public Speaking. Michael and Amy Port. It's a conference I went to a few years ago. They're very talented teachers and educators on how to professionally speak. And whether you like to step in front of a crowd like me, or whether you're just speaking to a prospect, we have to continue to hone that craft of how do we communicate effectively. And one of my takeaways from that was to use the pause more. When you're trying to make a point or educate somebody or teach something to somebody, and you kind of pause there, the reason it's a gift is because it allows them to actually really hear it and absorb it. And whether you're like me, somebody has a fairly quick pulse, what would be the phrase I'm looking for? Kind of quick cadence in the way in the way I speak, or whether you are already somebody that speaks a little slower. Both of us need to pause after making a good point. When you do it well, you'll see the other person nod at the other end because they get it, and they'll just do that instinctively. So work on the pause. Okay. This is something that I just had on a previous slide on the Remodeler show. I think it's wise to bring this up, and just a little reminder for my friends across the country who are working their faces off in this difficult and challenging time. It is a wise time to make sure that you have sat down with your CPA and talked to them about what your tax liability is looking like. 2020 has been a crazy year. A lot of you have PPP funds. There's just a lot going on. And I do not want you to be surprised in February, March, or April when you get your taxes done and go, crap, that's what I owe. I prefer you to kind of have a really good handle on it in September, October, or have a handle on it in September, October, have a really good handle on it here in November. And if you have no clue where your tax liability is looking like, you need to call your CPA. You need to hang up from the Remodeler show. You need to take your phone. You need to call your CPA and say, I need to book time for us to do a Zoom call or meet in person to review this year so that I can be prepared for what my tax liability and how all the numbers are shaking out. Please do that. If this is hitting you square between the eyes and you have no idea, please take my advice there. Alex says, marketing question. That means we're on to the next thing. Marketing question. Looking to rebrand. Any suggestions? Any suggestions? Alex, I would be, maybe not suggestions, but question that I want you thinking about. Kind of start with the end in mind. Why are you rebranding? What's the point of this? What's the goal of this? Get really clear with that. Okay. And then I would just have a lot of questions around, okay, what's wrong with your, this is one of the difficulties of the Remodeler show is we're not talking back and forth, but, is it rebrand meaning I'm sticking with the same name. I just need to have a better logo, more up-to-date logo, etc. Brothers Renovations. Alex, answer this since you're spot on here. Are you looking to change your business name or just rebrand with a new look and feel? That'll give me some direction here. Jim said Jim Rohn had a great delivery. It's because he's a pro, right? He's a professional speaker. He's crafted that. He's practiced that. He's worked at that. Okay. No brother, LOL, didn't work out. Want to change to Reshka Design Build. Okay. All right. So yeah, that would be a tough story to start. We're sitting down for our initial conversation about my kitchen remodel I want. I say, "Oh, Brothers Renovations, Alex. What's the Brothers thing about?" Because I would do something like that. And you go, "Well, good intentions. My brother was kind of a jerk. We didn't work very well together, and it's just me." That's not a great way to start. Okay. So thinking about changing it to Reshka Design Build. Reshka is a hard name to pronounce, Alex. It's also a hard name to know how to type. Every time you say the name Reshka, which I hope I'm pronouncing it right, I'm not 100% sure, you're going to have to spell that out. Yeah, my email address is alex@reshkadesignbuild.com. That's RESCHKA. So, from an ease standpoint of just being able to easily look it up, to be able to type it, if we're going to look at a rebrand, let's look even a little bit broader. Have you brainstormed something outside of your last name for your business name? I would encourage you, and I think that the Alex in 2028 would want the Alex in 2020 to be thinking about, is there a name that would be stronger, better than maybe just using our last name? I would urge you to maybe Brothers with an S, Renovations with an S. Okay. Yeah. I would urge you to maybe think about that. I'm just in the process right now. Most of the time when we're going through kind of a name change and I'm walking a client through that, so often it is changing that last name, which is typically the business name, to something that is different. Let me give you one example, just a really cool example. Red Oak Remodeling. Hi, Laura and Paul Deller. Sweet clients of mine, wonderful clients of mine in the Greater Pennsylvania area. And Laura was a botanist. I think I'm saying that right. Maybe an arborist. She actually majored in college the study of plants and trees. She's got a huge interest in that. Her business name is Red Oak Remodeling. And when you ask her about it, or when she shares it, she named it Red Oak because the red oak tree is something that grows quickly and requires very little maintenance. Kind of like the remodeling business that they wanted to build. Something that grows quickly and has not a lot of maintenance involved with it, right? So she took something that's kind of an interest of hers, plus it kind of has a name. So that's an example of kind of some creative thinking about it. I think very often at this point, if you're here, I want you to really brainstorm, do I want to go with my last name? Maybe. If not, what are some other options that I could look at? Okay. And a couple other people saying, strongly suggest you don't use your name in branding. Fair enough. Having a non-family name for the company may give employees / potential employees the perception that there's room to grow, a ladder to climb. Yep. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and lost lots of work switching to OA. Michael, go to stream. Anybody that's where it's not coming, go StreamYard.com/Facebook, and you can just click the approve button, and then I can see your pretty faces on here. StreamYard.com/Facebook. And I think this was Michael. So, you're already getting a little bit of feedback, and you're hearing me of going, let's really think through that last name thing. Last thing I'll say related to kind of your question there of rebranding, Alex, is just more of a general branding conversation. I use the phrase branding and image a little bit as a synonym, where interchangeably. So when we have all these different elements that make up our image, our logo, our business name, color scheme we use, our voicemail. Like if somebody calls on voicemail, it's all little elements that make up our overall image and our overall brand. And all of these little images are combining to either be supportive, neutral, or disruptive. If I have a website that looks like it was built by my 5th grade cousin, that is disrupting my overall image. If I have a business name that is very complex to spell, then it might not be disrupting it, but it might kind of be neutral. It's certainly not supporting. So as you look at that rebrand, think of that. Is this supporting, neutral, disrupting kind of the overall brand I'm looking at? And keep us posted. Selling the company is always a consideration. Look at Alex. Look at that beautiful, I assume, wife. Beautiful wife. Look at this guy. He looks like me from he's got hair and, in his 20s. Like I used to have hair and I used to be in my 20s, Alex. As you continue down this path and you build this business out, the 40-year-old, the 50-year-old, the 60-year-old Alex, for the reasons Michaela mentioned, of that perception of room to grow, the ability to sell the business in the future, those are things that you can kind of consider as well. Okay. LOL. What was the duck comments related to? Okay. All right. We're having fun. Alex is with us today. All right. Next up, keep your questions coming, my friends. This is going to be an extended version. We're already at 26 after. We might go for 45 minutes today. We'll see. I'm 37, balding. I just look like a 19-year-old. Oh, yeah. But see, that's bald. Alex, in case you're wondering, the lighting's bad. This is what a 37-year-old balding man looks like. Like I kept it really short because it keeps balding. It was growing out, and I had like what my dad has, which is like hair just around there. Because I'm 37 as well, Alex. You're doing fine, man. Looking amazing. And pretty wife, yes. Duh, pretty wife, yes. All right. Good, we're having fun. The next question is this one. Next topic. Book your next meeting. Before you leave whatever meeting you're at, please book that next meeting. It's called a self-imposed deadline, and it keeps cycle time down and reducing it. It reduces stress, and it gets rid of the, you know what, I'll get back to you next week on this. And then the end of the week coming, and you not having done what you said you were going to do, and then another week going, right? It happens because we're busy. Book that next meeting before you move on to your next thing. Does that make sense? Okay. I asked some questions, or I asked and said, hey, I'm doing a remodeler show today. Does anybody have any questions? John Clark. Hey, John Clark. He is out on the East Coast, Cape Cod. I do believe Cape Cod. He's got a cool little business at Design Remodel. Interesting business name right there, as a matter of fact. And he asked the question, how to transition from wearing the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen. Now, people, I see all y'all watching this live. Here's a question, how to transition from wearing the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen. And John even wrote 5 key steps. It's like he wanted me, Kyle, you asked the question, what questions do I have? I've got a question here, and I want 5 key steps. Don't give me 4, don't give me 6. I want 5 key steps. So John, I came up with them. Here you go. I don't know if they're the greatest because I did this kind of swiftly, but they're pretty good. Number 1, make a decisive decision. Do you really want to stop wearing the tool belt and you want to start running a team of tradesmen? Are you sure? Positive about that? Or are you half pregnant about it? Yeah, I kind of want it. You either got to do it or not. Like sometimes with a question like this, like you got to rip off the Band-Aid. I'm going to do this. So my first tip there is, are you doing this? Are you really making a decisive decision? That's the first thing I want you to think about and grapple with. Number 2, start with the end in mind and set a deadline or a goal. When is your goal for actually being off the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen? And let's be realistic with it. Let's not say 4 months from now. Let's say 11 months from now, 10 months from now, whatever you feel is kind of realistic. Get that clear, what your goal is for this, what your deadline for this is, and then let's work backwards from there. You start working backwards from there, and you're going to see, well, by this date, I need to do this. By this date, I need to do that. Oftentimes, especially when you say running a team of tradesmen, if you're wearing the tool belt and you got one person, how many additional people are we going to need? Let's work that backwards. So start with the end in mind, set a clear deadline and goal, and let's work backwards from that. Number 3, get clear with what or who you're looking for. Are you looking for full-time employees? Are you want to go more the trade partner route and have trade partner subcontractors that specialize in different things? Are you wanting kind of a lead carpenter? Let's get really clear with who you're looking for so that we can be purposeful with that. Number 4, kind of in that transition from wearing the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen, is to be patient. Well, Kyle, you just told me to set a goal and deadline. How patient can I be? Like, I've got goals and deadlines to hit. Well, we have to be patient. We know that we have to hire slow. We know that in the environment we're in, it's very hard to find the right person. I still want a deadline. I still want a goal. That gives us urgency. That gives us a goal to shoot for. We all work better off of deadlines. You're going to say, crap, I committed to getting this done by next month, and you're going to make an additional 10 calls. I know you called your supplier supply shop, I could say. You called your contact there 2 months ago. Have you called him again? He's talking to a lot of people all day. One of my clients had this little tip related to finding good help. He said, go to one of your nice supply houses and ask your main contact there, who buys nice tools? Who buys nice tools? Who doesn't skimp on that? Who understands quality? And gets a little list of that and looks for referrals related to that, whether that's trying to find good trade partners to work with. Thought that was pretty clever. It's treated him really well. That wasn't like a hypothetical thing he does. He does it consistently, and it's led him to finding good trade partners and employees. So number 4, John, is be patient, hire slow. It's hard to find the right person, but that's the biggest key to this. If you want to get off the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen, you've got to find capable, really solid people. You got to pay them well. And that's the biggest key to this whole thing, right? And we all know that. So be patient with it, work hard to find it, get really clear with who you're looking for. That's number 4. And then number 5, learn how to manage and lead well. Learn how to manage and lead well. This is going to be a new challenge for you. This is going to be a new territory for you. And John, knowing you, you've been out in the field. You've been able to control a lot of the quality when it comes to the finished carpentry work. Yes, you've had plumbers. Yes, you've had different trade partners that have helped and come alongside you to make projects happen. But you've been able to control the full communication with the client and the finishing. This is a totally different animal. Now you have to learn and grow and mature in your ability to manage a team, lead people well, make sure they're motivated, enjoying their work. Okay, so make sure you have that and clear vision on that of saying, okay, part of this, if I'm going to go from wearing a tool belt to running a team of tradesmen, I got to learn how to manage and lead well. New challenge for you. You're somebody that reads a lot. There's a lot of resources out there, etc. So there you go, Johnny, you wanted 5 key steps. You got it. I bet you some other people type some things too. Train your replacement now. Okay, that's good. There's a common misconception that an owner should be running the company. Sometimes the best place for an owner who came up through the trades is to stay in the field where they are good at their craft. Hire others to run the ship. Interesting. I think that might have been Michael. Sorry, Kyle, I'm on my mobile multitasking with some distance learning with my son. No excuses. You should be going to StreamYard.com/Facebook. We should still be able to see your pretty face. Stop making excuses as to why I'm seeing that. Michael, why don't you multitask a little bit more and listen to me while distance learning, while going there. You're very capable. You're a very capable man. John Maxwell is good. Hire a project manager to run jobs and you run the business. Okay, good. So there's some ideas related to that. What else do I have here for you guys? Part of what I have is just a good old-fashioned fat thank you. It is. This is supposed to be the Thanksgiving show. It's supposed to be a Thanksgiving show. I really enjoy doing these shows. I know I haven't been doing them as often here recently, but you guys encourage me with your implementation, with your feedback for me by participating, making it fun. And it's very cool to see that we've got a community that continues to help people, that is continuing to, when people ask questions, they get real, thoughtful, helpful answers. And I just really appreciate you guys. And I'm very grateful for you. Oh, that's so sweet. What's the link for the live stream? If you go to theremodellersshow.com, theremodellersshow.com, you can see all of the previous episodes. It's probably easiest to click on the YouTube link to see it all. So there you go. Cool. What else do I have to say? Here's something for people watching all the way till the end. If you go and leave a review for me on whatever podcast service that you use, ideally Apple, and you leave a review for my podcast, Remodelers on the Rise, and then just shoot me a quick note, Facebook message, email, kyle@remodelyourmarketing.com, and say, hey, I left you a review. Guess what you're going to get in the mail? You're going to get a mug from me that says 5P exclamation mark. My clients are getting these too. 5P exclamation mark. 5P stands for proper preparation, prevents poor performance. Something I talk about often. A lot of you have heard me say that. And you can get your very own mug. Go leave a little review for Remodelers on the Rise and send me a little note that you did it. Oh, we'll get that out to you. Okay. Also, I don't know if Justin's watching this, but I just got a visitor at my office. We socially distanced. He had his mask on, etc. But Justin hooked me up with this. I don't know if he wants me to I think he wants to take me on sales calls. Like, that's a really nice shirt. With a hat, because y'all know I love hats. And then I would argue, best of all, this turkey cookie. It's already missing one wing or one feather because I tackled it. Love getting swag, and I love giving swag. So go ahead and that review. I think we're kind of wrapping up. Whoa, Apple, the evil empire. That seems dramatic. The evil empire. I'm sure that I'm guessing that, Michael, that might be you again commenting. Maybe I'm not being thoughtful enough about Apple, because I've got a Mac. I've got a MacBook here. Ain't nothing evil about that. Look at it. I even got that on the back of it. I've got this nice monitor that I use from Apple. I've got this lovely iPhone that works like a charm. I mean, Steve Jobs was kind of a jerk face, but the evil empire seems dramatic. Alex, we got a little Michigan. Oh, Alex, you're from Michigan. Sweet. We're from in Michigan. Cool. I'm in Brighton. I don't know if you knew that. I'm in Brighton. Excellent. What did we cover today? See if you have any other questions. But what we covered was, hey, I've got a course starting next week. It's related to understanding our P&L, job costing, markup, and creating our 2021 business budget. It's part of all of the fall courses that I've been doing in September, October, November, and this one in December. So reach out to me if you're interested in hearing more about that. We talked a lot about good marketing attracts and repels. And I gave you this example of one of my clients who says, we do complex projects, and how much content is really built in that. Again, remember, you want to document your process. Document your process. So there's interesting things you guys are doing all day. Make sure you're just documenting what you're doing. Okay. Talked about planning for your year-end tax liability. If you don't know what your tax liability looks like, how the numbers are all coming together, and it's November 25th, you're doing it wrong. You should know by now. Should I say shame on you? That sounds condescending. Shame on you. Okay, now that we're over that, please just book a time. Book a time with your CPA and get that fixed. Speaking of booking your time, always book your next meeting before you leave that current meeting. Give yourself self-imposed deadlines. I answered John's question about how to transition from wearing the tool belt to running a team of tradesmen. There were several other questions that you guys tossed in here. I might try to sneak in one more, and then I'll save these other ones from Rick and Andrew and others for another time. Okay, cool. So the last question I had here was from Tate. He commented on here, and Tate said, I didn't load this in StreamYard, but he said this: pre-contract. This is before we sign that contract. How can we make sure we know more about the client and how they will behave? What degree of difficulty are they going to be? How indecisive? What are questions to ask to figure this out so we can avoid or at least charge and plan accordingly? So, I was thinking about this, of how do we sniff that out? So much of our stress level, our ability to deliver a great experience for our clients, our ability to enjoy our work, our ability for our team to also enjoy it, is making sure we're working with good people that match up with what we offer and find value in it. When we have somebody that just doesn't behave well, that's snarky, that has this us versus them versus we're a team environment to it, it can lead to so much stress. So Tate's going, maybe he's living through it right now. How do we sniff that out? How do we get clear with that before it's too late and before we sign that contract? It's a great question, something that we need to work on. What Tate said was, any questions? And what I kind of was thinking through is a little bit more of, we just got to really be observant. Two things. One, we have to be really observant and kind of test them a little bit. And then we also have to be brave enough to turn it down. That last part is probably the biggest thing in this. Most of you have already asked enough questions, have already sniffed this out, already know they're going to be a pain in the butt, already fit that model of, wait, That's the client that I said never again after you lived through it 2 years ago. If I see this warning sign, this red flag, that red flag, I need to turn it down. You're super clear with that after you've lived through it. But then a few years later, you're kind of like, well, maybe they won't be too bad. So the biggest thing in this topic is, are you going to be brave enough to turn down that work, and smart enough and wise enough to turn down that work because you see the warning signs? I would say most of the time you already see the warning signs. You've got to be brave. And the reason I say brave is because it's hard, and you have to have a little bit of faith that there's a project coming behind that that's going to be there for you. Because all your head's saying is, I got bills to pay, I've got a team to keep busy, I've got a little bit of a light schedule 2 months from now. So you're going to bend over backwards to try to stuff this person through your, yes, they're an ideal client, we should sign a contract. So that's the biggest part there. And the other thing is just observe. If it's a spouse arrangement, husband, wife, how are they treating each other? Oh, that tells you so much. When you make suggestions and you're using your expert advice to make suggestions, how do they respond to that? Do they brush it off? Are they valuing you? Ask that. How do they make decisions? You start to give them some things to do. You start to give them some decisions. There's a lot of things you can observe and watch in that. How are they responding to that? What seems to make it kind of antsy? When you start talking about money, do they just shrivel up? Are they really always asking about price? Chances are that's not going to be an ideal client for you. They say they're going to do, or are they just super flaky? Pay attention to these things, right? The design build process and our ability to charge for design and development and get a little skin in the game from them, and being able to work with them and have some more meetings, allows us the opportunity to really get to know, like, and get to build some know, like, and trust with them, and really get to know their personality. And Tate, I know you're doing that and embracing that more and more. So observe more, ask questions, but really pay attention. And then the biggest thing is be brave to say no. It's hard, but it's good. All right, we got some great points there. Cool. Get a letter of intent or design agreement. Yeah, you're hitting on that. If they don't want to pay for your service before the construction contract, most likely not your client. Good, excellent, folks. We are through the Remodeler show for the Thanksgiving show, November 25th edition. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. I liked the interaction. Thank you, everybody, for submitting some questions and also for participating live here with this extended version, a 43-minute Remodeler show. Getting crazy over here. Hope you're well. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Count your blessings. I started, and that's the other thing I mentioned at the start, and I'll end with this. Society, business people, books, our culture, more. Level up, more. Let's spend this weekend really evaluating how good we have it.